A very good evening and welcome this edition of The Fourth Estate. Charles Mangusha Mpagi, and tonight we will continue the discussion that is inside the national resistance movement, and we're getting people this evening from one side because over the last 1 week since the declaration by John Patrick Amama Mbabazi that he'll be running for the presidency of this country and he'll run as a candidate for flag bearer position of the NRM party. He also ran for the general election as a president. That's the declaration he gave. Actually, Chris, I knew just before, a little before we had gotten on air last Sunday, that YouTube video would be coming out in the dead of the night. But I didn't want to discuss it that time. I posted a teaser on one of the social platforms on which I am to say, keep your load bundle, make sure your Twitter is working, make sure your Facebook is working, and make sure you're on WhatsApp so that you can be able to pick up this information. And the announcement came out, I think, about 4 a.m. So you're blowing your cover now? No, I'm not blowing my cover. My job, my job as a journalist is to look for information. Yes, I had learned earlier the announcement would be coming, and then the clearer details. You know, that announcement of the announcement of the announcement had been running for so long, so you had to be careful. But let me introduce my colleague, Chris Obore. Chris, very nice to have you. Thank you. We have a yellow panel today. Yes. The shades of yellow is what we shall be discussing, who belongs where, because we are waiting for those major breaks that Camp Amama has been talking about, that we might be seeing people now declaring officially. Kenneth Omona is Deputy Treasurer of the National Resistance Movement. Very nice to have you.
Thank you, and glad to be here this evening.
You spent a lot of time this afternoon in meetings discussing, but let's come back to that after I've introduced the Honorable Mike Ssabalu, who is a member of the East African Legislative Assembly. He is one of those deeply entrenched national resistance movement foot soldiers, if I should use that. Mike, very nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm glad to be part of this panel this evening.
Let me start with you, Kenneth. At the NRM Secretariat, you've been working overnight, reacting to the Mbabazi declaration. But this is something that you knew would be coming since the time you started hatching plans to chase Mbabazi out of the NRM in Changwanzi in February 2014. How come you're responding in such a panicky mood? I know it's an unfair question.
No, really. Good evening, viewers, again. Charles, I think you're not right. First of all, I would like to say, yes, you're right in one sense, that we're working very hard.
How can I be right and not right at the same time?
No, you're also wrong in another. Where you're right is that, yes, we are working very hard, burning midnight candles to make sure that we organize a very smooth elections for the NRM, beginning with the structure, then going into the primary elections for flag bearers, then ultimately putting up our flag bearers to contest the national elections and having them win and win big. That is why we're working very hard. On the issue of the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, I think actually what we are doing, much of what we are doing is actually not about Amama at all, actually.
What is it about?
What I've just told you. What I see people in the media making appear big, like there's no panic about Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi at the NRM headquarters. What we want to work hard to make sure we do is that we prepare good elections for our people and then prepare to win in the national elections. So this is what is keeping us...
As a party, I know you had a meeting this afternoon, before you, earlier in the day, part of the burning the midnight oil that you're talking about. You might be walking back into a meeting maybe which will keep you there until 3 a.m. in the morning. The question is, as a party, are you prepared for an Amama contest against President Yoweri Museveni, your party chairman?
Thank you. Again, I think what I have to tell you and the viewers is that, one, at the NRM headquarters, we are preparing for elections. And of course, what we do is prepare a smooth ground for our members who want to take up positions in the party. And this is all we do. And if Amama and others are interested in the contest, what we only wait to see is them express their interest with us as prescribed in our constitution, following the guidelines and the procedures, and that's what we'll do for them.
Your party...
and as I speak now, NRM headquarters, or indeed actually the NRM Electoral Commission, has not received any interest, any expression of interest from any party member, I must say.
When do you expect that? Because your roadmap says you start your elections this month.
Yes, very soon.
And this month is about to end because today is 21st of the month. You basically have 10 days to the end of the month.
Right. Now, according to our Electoral Commission electoral guidelines, and actually specifically on the primary elections, the Electoral Commission of the NRM is enjoined to issue a notice with a date, time, a place and hour where expression of interest can be received, and we are yet to do that.
When are you likely to do that?
Very soon.
Very soon means when? You must have an idea. You're having meetings back to back, running for long, to determine that.
Yes, of course, we keep meeting. We meet, review, examine, review, look at what we have done. Meetings are part of operations, are part of activities. But I must say, actually, very soon, because we are soon tabling the guidelines for elections to SEC for approval. And once this is done, the Electoral Commission will issue, will publish a date for call of interest for those who want to participate in those positions. And this is when we expect people who are interested in taking up positions.
Can I go back to a quick question that I put to you earlier? Are you, as a Secretariat, ready for an Amama candidature?
We are ready for expression of interest of any member of NRM interested in any position in NRM, as long as it is within the rules or the laws of the Uganda or within the guidelines of NRM. We are ready.
You signed onto that sole candidature declaration of the NRM caucus in February 2014 in Chankwanzi, did you?
I did.
The head of your Secretariat, Justin Kasule Lumumba, signed onto that.
We did that.
The other colleagues you work with signed on that declaration.
Yes, we did that as members of the NRM caucus. Yes, we did.
Yes.
Including the
so how open is the position of party president and party flag bearer, party chairman and party flag bearer, if you members running the Secretariat have already endorsed a particular individual to be the sole candidate?
Okay. Again, let me say this. The resolution of the NRM caucus in Chankwanzi was an opinion of one organ of NRM. That's an opinion they expressed. To quick run through what it requires, what it takes for one to express interest and maybe ultimately become a flag bearer of the NRM. We will publish, like I've told you, a specific date, time and place where this expression of interest can be received. After that, can I put my question again? This interest.
Can I put my question again?
Okay.
What fairness can anyone else interested in the most important position in the elections you're organizing expect from people who have already expressed their opinion that they support a particular individual?
Okay. If you're talking specifically about the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi.
I'm talking about the position of party president, party chairman and party flag bearer.
This is what I'm saying. The Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi was part of this resolution himself in Chankwanzi. He's a secretary to this opinion of the NRM caucus. And again, I want to say that the positions we hold now, it bears on us responsibilities as officials of the NRM to do just according to regulations and the constitution of NRM.
Thank you.
And this is what we'll do. Whoever has interest will express it. This will go through the normal process to SEC, then NEC. After that, then we subject those who have gone through that process to the national
Thank you.
conference. And that is what.
Let me turn the question to the Honorable Mike Ssabalu, and that's the question that. What do you make of Amama Mbabazi's declaration that he will be seeking the flag of the NRM, the leadership of the NRM and the flag to run in the general elections as for president of the country?
Yeah, thank you very much, Charles. But before I go to the question you've asked, I think I want to make a comment on the submission of my brother. They are running the Secretariat in terms of the general administration, in terms of the general operations of the Secretariat. But there is, within the Secretariat, there are those that are responsible for elections.
Right.
And the chairman is known, the vice chairman is known, the secretary. Those are the people that are going to manage the processes or that will come up with the flag bearer. And none of those members in that commission were part of the parliamentary caucus. So to answer your question, the people specifically responsible for that, and we are not part of that opinion. So that needs to be appreciated in terms of who does specific work at the Secretariat, because they don't simply do everything. They give the overall direction and administration, but there are specific organs, specific institutions within the party detailed to deal with different aspects. And elections is a matter of the Electoral Commission of NRM. All the processes that lead up to those that will assume given offices are handled by Electoral Commission. So I don't see any problem with them overseeing the process, and it should not unfairly create conditions that are unbearable for anyone. Now, regarding the candidature of Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, I think it is his right, first of all, and I want to respect it. It is his right to aspire for leadership within the party. But it is also the right of the members of the party to have a preferred candidate. So if some members have already taken a position in terms of preferring a candidate, it is their right. And it is their democratic right, just like it is his democratic right of aspiring for leadership. So personally, I don't see any contradiction there.
Chris,
I don't see any
let me turn the question to Chris. Chris, Mike Ssabalu strongly defends the democratic right of Amama Mbabazi to contest, or anyone else to contest. Since you are the guy in the field, you are the journalist actively engaged following these politics, which has dominated the discussions over the last 1 week. Do you see that that democratic space does exist within the NRM, especially in the way it's reacted to the Mbabazi declaration, or we can stretch it backwards to see how the party has reacted previously?
I think to use the word democracy here will be too big, because we shall have a deficiency on both sides. You'll find it on the Museveni side, you'll find it on Amama Mbabazi's side, you'll find it on the opposition side. And I think as a country, the discussion should be about demanding each party to this process to actually live by those ideals of democracy. I look at this politics now in the wider picture, how it's affecting not just the players, but the victims, the people, the ordinary people, who eventually bear the brunt of what decisions they make. And this is how I look at this politics as of now. You permit me to look at it from the Museveni perspective, in Mbabazi and the opposition. Mbabazi's declaration, to me, should send a signal to Yoweri Museveni that it is important to do things in an institutional manner. It is important to do things using a system approach than using things the individual way. It is disadvantaging the NRM, now it's disadvantaging Museveni himself. When Amama Mbabazi chose to play a puppet to President Museveni, President Museveni elevated him above everybody else in NRM. Meaning, being a puppet master is a method of work the president employs. And it served him. Because Mbabazi came, clobbered everyone else, made NRM look like him and Museveni. Everybody in NRM, at its majority of the people, it is like Museveni was God, and Mbabazi was Jesus. Whoever wanted to reach God, no way without passing the Son. And that eliminated very many people. Others chose...
Who completed the Trinity?
We will get there. We will get there. Let me look at the Father and the Son. The Father and the Son destroyed even NRM as an institution. That it could not dialogue, It could not apply merit. It had to apply to what extent do you leak Mbabazi's feet for you to be seen by the father. And the father enjoyed that. So you find so many people who are crying about Mbabazi, who have been destroyed, our careers have gone, and Mbabazi played loyal to Museveni and damaged the people. By Museveni allowing puppetry as a method to maintain himself, he bred now a problem he's facing, and that is Mbabazi. Now the blue-eyed boy, the puppet now wants to be a master. It has been dancing around your feet. Now Museveni has decided now to use the people the puppet was undermining now to fight the puppet. You see how it is ironical? Mm-hmm. It is very ironical. Now the people of Mbabazi vanquished, people of Mbabazi belittled, he made it dehumanized. You know, as a security minister, in a government at the time of Mbabazi, in fact I'm hearing today, government can breathe. A prime minister was chairing cabinet meetings and the vice president is there. These are the systems I'm talking about. And Museveni allowed it. That is wrong. That was wrong in the first place.
Can I just cut in there? Are you surprised that people like former Vice President Gilbert Balebaseka of Kenya, he was blocked from holding a meeting in Masaka yesterday, on Saturday. Are you surprised now that they speak a language of they can work with?
You have moved ahead of me. Yes. I told you, I'm coming there. Mm. So, government offices, people were feeling like they are not part of a system where Mbabazi is, there was that fear. But Mbabazi was planning. He knew what he was doing. He was creating a system. In fact, Mbabazi would have done what Zuma did to Mbeki. He used the same NRM to kick out Museveni. Going by what has happened, Museveni is very lucky. The Chankwasi resolution could have been the other way around. It could have been a resolution to say, Museveni, go away, we have Mbabazi.
So he maintained...
He should thank his gods.
He maintained his edge as the puppet master.
Exactly.
Yes.
He should thank God that Mbabazi didn't reach that level of Zuma on Mbeki. It was going to happen in NRM because Museveni was so blinded that he's dealing with the right man. But again, while that served Mbabazi to entrench his interest, it's also its own disadvantage. You cannot now destroy people on your way up. Then all of a sudden you discover, for me actually to become a puppet master now, I need all these people. Now the people are saying, while you were just a puppet, you were as deadly as a cobra. Now when you make you a master, what will you be? That is his undoing. In his rising up, clobber this one, destroy this one, kill this one, destroy this one, deny this one a job, blackmail this one. Now he wants to be the president. It is a challenge for Mbabazi. Because him and Museveni share one approach. Self. So many are going to run, the monarchs now with Museveni. It's going to be difficult. But away from those two, I've also noticed that their actions, Mbabazi and Museveni, have destroyed democratic growth in this country. What we call the opposition is actually not there. Now, it now depends on who Museveni discards for opposition to gain relevance. Today it is Mbabazi. The other day it was Bukenya. The other day it is so and so. That's what I'm coming with. Now Bukenya, who I'm told was dancing in the parliamentary canteen when Mbabazi was sacked, who was whistling and saying, even he gave us an interview. He's saying, I'll work with the Mbabazi. Now everybody else in the opposition thinks we no longer care what Mbabazi did. For us, we want change. That means there will never be opposition organic growth, rather than waiting for what NRM discards. And that's dangerous for our country.
But opposition should not be a career, someone would say. I
expected now Mbabazi to be jumping out of Museveni to find opposition pillars who say, come, we'll assign you some work. In fact, Mbabazi is going to be assigning opposition figures what to do. That is very dangerous. The person you think today is using Museveni machinery against the interests of Ugandans, after 6 months, is the person you're saying, no, Ugandans, accept this man, regardless of what he did. And that's a dilemma for our country, Charles. That's why I'm laughing at Bukenya. We have audios, we have print material, we have everything of him calling the man mafia. Today, because of desperation. What does he stand for? Other than simply using politics as a means to access part of government resources by being on the opposition. It is dangerous. I expected now Mbabazi to come and say, I've defected from Museveni, Regan Okumu is now the presidential candidate, and Mbabazi is backing him up. Or Mugisha Muntu is now the person we are backing. Or we have Paulo Semogerere, Matias Nsubuga. But because opposition seems to be an appendage, waiting. What will Museveni do? Whom will he chase away? Omona, let's wait. Let Omona be a bad man now. Today you are hearing Kaihura. If Kaihura says, Musea sacked me, I'm joining you, they will say, come. That means what they blame Kaihura for is immaterial. And that is just why I have a grievance. We must learn to play politics with the principle. There should be things we agree as wrong.
Thank you for raising that question of principle. I want us to expand it when we come out of the break. But let me just put a quick one to Mike Ssabalu. Run politics with principle. Build internal systems. You said it's okay for the party to express, members of the party to express a preferred candidate. Yeah. I saw a demonstration in Eastern Uganda yesterday of women chanting pro-Museveni slogans, hoisting placards, denouncing Amama Mbabazi, and every time people are asking, are you people in the NRM actually trying to build a democratic culture in this country? If you see any dissent against President Yoweri Museveni as a crime. And I can back this up with facts. When Kizza Besigye disagreed with Museveni, he became a criminal. He was actually tried, including for rape and treason. 2001. He presented the most serious challenge to President Museveni that President Museveni has experienced electorally in his 30 years in leadership. Now, the next biggest challenge is coming from Amama Mbabazi, and we can already begin to see the demonization of Amama Mbabazi. What kind of democracy are you trying to build?
Yeah, I think, first of all, democracy is growing. I can say it's a growing concern within our country. Secondly, I want us to appreciate that democracy remains democracy, even when you are the beneficiary of democracy or when you are the victim of democracy. We tend to think that if someone is disadvantaged in one way, then democracy is bad. You know, we need, for us to build democracy, we need to build Democrats. And the Democrats believe in outcome of processes. So if a process disadvantages you and it has been credible and fair, you need to appreciate
credibility and fairness. Can we pick this up after short commercial break? I'll just come to you after short commercial break. We'll be right back. You're still watching The Fourth Estate, and you're discussing the national resistance movement, especially the official side of the party, reacting to what has been an avalanche of discussions on the Amama Declaration over the last 1 week with Mike Ssabalu. He's a member of the National Resistance Movement and representing the party and the country at the East African Legislative Assembly. We also have Kenneth Omona, Dr. Kenneth Omona. He is the Deputy Treasurer of the National Resistance Movement, and of course with my colleague Chris Obore. I just cut you short before you took the break, and you say even the person who gets disadvantaged by democracy should accept democracy. Yeah. But an endorsement of a sole candidate in Changwanzi at the party caucus, by proclamation, by ululation actually, you would put it that way, is not democracy. That the party is working so hard and the government machinery is working so hard to demonize Amama Mbabazi because he has simply declared that he wants to contest against President Yoweri Museveni doesn't show one who has been advantaged by democracy and one who has been disadvantaged by democracy. I have seen a lot of panic. The Electoral Commission has been reacting, trying to find fit on how to react to, because someone has said, I'm going to be consulting as an aspirant, which is provided for in the National Constitution and the Presidential Elections Act. You see how the police has been reacting, running around, plucking down posters. They haven't allowed anyone else's posters to go up over the very many last elections, apart from President Museveni's posters, which started going up as soon as he walked out of Changwanzi. That is not democracy, that someone who feels disadvantaged by it should accept the result, and someone who has been advantaged by it should celebrate and say, this is democracy at work.
You see, what is interesting about democracy is that democracy itself is not fair. You see, when anything goes by numbers, when anything goes by majority, then there is no other formula. Either you have the majority or you don't. That's why when one wins with the majority, he's won. Even with a majority of one voter, someone becomes the representative, and when he's talking, he's like, my people. And he's referring to everybody, but the difference is simply one person who tilted the balance. So that is the unfairness. Actually, it brings me to a point where in this country, maybe we should start thinking about the debate of maybe proportional representation, where you can look at, factors of saying, look, with this kind of majority and this kind of follow-up, we need to create synergies. But as long as democracy is defined in numbers, the one with the majority carries the day, it remains an unfair arrangement in its own self. And that's where now you go. And
you're comfortable with that unfair arrangement?
No, as long as it is the work method that is available to determine leaders. If I have one vote over yours, I become the leader of that area. But one thing we need to appreciate in this view is that, you are looking at the Chankwanzi resolution, for instance. It even becomes very interesting when Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi was part of that majority. And for sure, you really need to even follow his statement in Chankwanzi about leaders and the importance of leaders. And when you have a good leader, you should never let go. And he had even put a very important proviso before he made his statement. He indicated that I've chosen my words very carefully, and I know what I'm talking about. And I'm talking about a rare species of a president. When you have this kind of leader, you should just never let go. So that was a democratic. That was a democratic expression. And he was simply indicating that we have many that can make leadership, but we have this one. And I believe, and he was part of that democratic process in Chankwanzi in terms of the majority view.
So what he's saying is that he brought his bro and he should enjoy. Yes, Chris.
What you're saying is true, but the question Charles was asking in the beginning are pointing to three tenets of democracy. Democracy is too amorphous for us to talk about here. But let me treat democracy on the three basic tenets. Transparency, accountability, and participation. Whether in UPC, whether in FDC, whether in NRM. And what you're discussing today as a problem in the NRM is an outcome of a deficiency of transparency, accountability, and participation in your processes within the party. And that's what I was trying to labor in the first quarter. That you see, Mbabazi can say that, and now turn around today, because the country does not believe in accountability. So the opposition are not demanding Mbabazi to account. They are demanding him to come and lead them. Museveni is culpable. He entrenched this culture that he could allow Mbabazi to smuggle briefs to him against NRM leader X. On which basis you take action against that leader. Divide and rule, playing one against another. Your chairman is deficient on transparency alone itself. So you are going to defeat Mbabazi, but you have to tell your chairman to change methods of work. When the same Mbabazi even went to the extent, when other leaders were coming up in NRM, I am so angry that your methods of work is even killing your own party. Within NRM, I must tell you, people may not want NRM, but they are capable of personalities there who can be leaders. But your method of management destroys, it promotes puppetry. It promotes Mbabaism. As long as you cut anybody to make Musei safe, you rise up. I remember when in the East for us, we began singing Mukula and the speaker, Rebecca Kadaga. They were coming up, Mukula found himself becoming a drama king somewhere here, there. Kadaga remained steady. But Mbabazi would go to the extent of trying to destroy Kadaga in her own base. The party chairman seemed to watch that as a game. Who today is a problem to him? So the problem in our country is not just these symptoms of Mbabazi coming out wanting to stand, or all of us are jumping. It comes from how those who hold public affairs don't regard the basic tenets that you're running a public entity. Follow accountability, be accountable, be transparent, let others participate. Some of the things happen in NRM, Some of you say, hey, what does Mzee say? You said it. Okay, Mzee, oh yeah. You don't even ask and say, what did he say? That's what it has reached. It has not reached that level, I'm telling you.
I'm actually surprised, Chris. I'm actually surprised, Chris, that a very senior political actor like Mike Ssabalu, was a very good, you said he made the most brilliant argument about articulating the functioning of democracy.
So far, the most intelligent argument I've got from the movement debater with me is from Mike Ssabalu.
Yes. Now, Mike,
with respect to my brother, I like what you're saying.
I am surprised that you would say democracy is undemocratic in its own, is unfair in its own way, and you're happy with it. When you have a litany of people who have said the same things before, like you're saying now, and then they wake up and realize, oh no, Amama Mbabazi is one of them. He's waking up to realize that the process is unfair. His interview with the BBC on Friday morning, did you listen to it?
No.
He gave an interview to the BBC, and when he was asked whether he thinks he can defeat President Yoweri Museveni, Alan Kasuja asked him. Alan Kasuja was the former host of this show. He said, do you think you can win? President Museveni is a very popular man. Do you think you can win? He said, as long as the process is democratic and fair. You wouldn't have heard that from Mbabazi as recent as 2011. You wouldn't have heard it from him in 2006. You wouldn't have heard that statement from him in 2001. Now he realizes as long as the process is democratic. And someone would ask, your purpose, yes, your purpose of being leaders in these political parties, your purpose of being leaders at the national level is to make the process democratic so that you don't begin demanding for democracy at a future date.
Well, I must.
But there is one correction I want to give. I was discussing and describing democracy as it is and as it pertains within certain parameters. Yeah, I did not create at any one time an impression that I'm happy with the unfairness of democracy.
In the NRM?
But it, not
we're talking about democracy within the NRM.
Democracy, even you've heard what has been in FDC. Even when in Andara, I don't know what came out, but definitely you saw a lot of tension after the electoral process that led to the presidents of FDC. It shouldn't get to that level, and that is my concern, that when you go in a context, I can give you an example. I stood for electoral processes in Busiro East, and I lost an election. But that time, there was a wave of FDC. I think that was 2006, yeah. There was that wave, and in Wakiso, there was quite some excitement about FDC. And when the results came, I realized that this wave
had swept
me away. People encouraged me to go to court, to go to what, but I said, look, the environment and what was pertaining, I'm not indeed surprised. So it should be that level. But you get to a point where one has lost, even in their own hearts, when they know they've lost, but they still make up in order to create scenarios.
Should give everybody a fair shot,
so that's my concern, because not all losses are out of processes that are incredible. But we find the reaction remaining almost constant, even where you know that I'm standing against Charles, and the wave is clear that Charles is indeed a very popular candidate, but when I lose, I always fall back.
Become a sour loser.
Yeah. So that element is something that is gaining ground, and it is even moving across the continent, where now people are getting smuggled into governments of national unity because they have kind of refused the outcome of processes so that they get a bargaining position. I think we also need to fight that tendency, which is becoming very dominant in our political
I hear you
action.
and agree with you entirely. The question is, take a very sober look at your party, the NRM.
Yes.
Has it allowed that functioning, that the person in charge of the process does not disadvantage others and claim that it's democracy?
Yeah, I believe to some extent, some very good extent.
No, let me give you an example.
Yes.
See, Ssabalu, I like your interest in taking a debate forward. In where there is lack of fairness, where there is lack of transparency, where there is exclusion of others, the results take time, but they will bear. Let me give it to you. When you talk about today, potential presidential candidates in this country today, there's Yoweri, there is Mbabazi, there is Biraro, there is Besije, who else?
Muntu.
There is Muntu.
I mean, you're not a potential.
The people who are coming up, all of them.
There's Betty Kamia, we shouldn't forget the women.
No, Betty Kamia is going for parliamentary.
Yes, she's going for parliamentary.
All of them are from one region. If I were an NRM person, I would have known that this is a result of marginalization. It cannot be that in that NRM, everybody is treated equally. Because when you look at that, by the way, even their connections, most of them are either being tutored by Museveni. Most of them are students of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. How come that Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has not been able to tutor Okoth from Kitgum in NRM to be a contender?
He has tutored Omona.
Come on, Omona is a treasurer and a secretary. It's not standing. How come? Listen, how come Yoweri Museveni has not tutored somebody in Busoga to be a leader? So these are issues that an alert leadership should be paying attention to, but they have been ignoring it. Biraro, a soldier under Museveni. Besije was a blue-eyed boy of Museveni who actually became more conscious earlier than any of you and said, this is wrong. Amama Mbabazi, just yesterday's puppet, destroying everything, coming. Muntu, he was put there by Museveni. Who else is not? Do you think NRM is participatory?
Do you think so? Let's put that question. Mike, do you think if you can hold it, can you put that question to Omona? You sit at the Secretariat and you're happy to be working for a functional party. Yeah. And you look at it and you find that it is extremely skewed in terms of its ability to produce leaders. And you're comfortable to say, Amama has come, he shouldn't be speaking. You're comfortable to say that? The proclamation in Changwanzi, the demonstration we saw yesterday, Bukenya was in Masaka, he was denied a chance to speak. You see that and you say, this is okay. We are building democracy and we're seated proudly at a political party, Secretariat, and we think we're building a party that will live and run this country beyond President Yoweri Museveni.
I want to appreciate, first of all, my colleagues, panelists here, on two things. One, which Chris says, the tenets of democracy. And Ssabalu Mike puts it that democracy can also be looked at subjectively. Sometimes subjectively, sometimes objectively. And also sometimes because of our attitudes, we describe, we define, we begin to view democracy differently. That sometimes if democracy brings out results that are not in our favor, democracy becomes unfair to us. I think this is what Honorable Ssabalu was saying here. But I want to say that one, the NRM political party is an organized institution now. And just like I told you, the question of saying whether it will be fair or not, I think much as I may say what I want to say here, what I would want all of you here to watch and those who are watching us this evening to watch is in a matter of time. That one, we will want to practice this democracy also in the processes that entails democracy. And democracy also gives opportunity for any group, any system, to organize processes that enable the democracy for their own practice. Like for our case, I've just told you here, we have the processes, the procedures, we have guidelines, regulations that help those who want to come into positions of leadership. This same democracy gives opportunity to the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi of the NRM caucus, who endorsed in Changwanzi as NRM caucus that they want President Museveni as their sole candidate. The same democracy and right also gives him the opportunity to say, no, I am now going to be a presidential candidate. So you can see, I think this comes to what Chris talks about, the principles of the political principles of individuals that got involved in the politics.
Kenneth, and to be honestly, lining ourselves to the reality, depending on which side you are, we have discussed 1,001 times on these platforms. On this show, on other shows, we have discussed that deficiency, that you sit at the Secretariat and you think it's okay. Chris has just given you an example. I was actually laughing. If President Yoweri Museveni is the NRM candidate, right, and Amama Mbabazi is possibly leading the Democratic Alliance, and for a running mate, I was imagining, who does he pick for a running mate? Or who does that alliance pick for a running mate? It picks either Kizza Besigye, or it picks Mugisha Muntu. Museveni is officially, his home is in Rwachitora, but he comes from Muntungamo. Amama Mbabazi comes from Kanungu. To go to Kanungu, you go through Ntungamo. Right. You go through Chiruhura, Barara, you go to Ntungamo. Then Kizza Besigye comes from Rukonjiri. To go to Kanungu, you go through Rukonjiri. And Mugisha Muntu comes from Ntungamo. And I was wondering and saying, is there some consciousness? Is there some thought at some stage? No. Within the NRM party, yes. Mbabazi has a right to stand.
Right.
Kizza Besigye has a right to stand.
Yes.
Muntu has a right to stand.
Right.
And for as long as they can sell themselves to Ugandans, yes, it doesn't matter, in my view, yes, where they come from. It shouldn't be inconsequential. That should be inconsequential.
That's true.
But as a party, when you're cutting down potential people who can lead the country, by creating such conditions that make it inevitable, that make it impossible for anyone else to challenge President Yoweri Museveni, do you feel that you're building democracy?
Okay. This again comes to Honorable Ssabalu's explanation of how we perceive democracy. Whatever any group defines this, but I want to say that for us in NRM, our greater effort is looking at what our mission is, what our vision for the country is, and we do what it takes for us to move along that direction and achieve what we want as a party. That's why when we issue a call tomorrow for those who are interested in contesting positions, we are not going to look at where you come from, what your tribe is, what your religion is. Ours is those who have the capabilities of carrying forward the efforts of the party in achieving our greater mission and vision. That's what we look at.
But Honorable Mona, just hold on, Charles. On that point, before you go, I know you're going for a break. Yes. Honorable Mona, that is a very good argument. But you see, one of the undoing of NRM has been it is conscious or unconscious blindness to issues of fairness and equity. You cannot tell me, because you are free to express yourself, that there cannot be an Acholi who can be selling himself as a presidential candidate. But that there can't be a Musoga, a Muganda who can move.
I think, Charles,
by creating conditions that make particular people be the one to be heard. Because politics and money are brothers. It shows you where the money is this debate and where the power is.
Can we pick up the discussion about? Can we pick up the discussion about?
No. You are blinded to equity issues as NRM. You don't pay attention to equity, and that's how you have failed to deliver services.
Can we pick up the debate about creating leaders within the NRM after a short commercial break? I think we should begin doing a behind the scenes to show what happens during off the camera discussions during the break on topics like this, and we're still discussing the Mbabazi candidature within the National Resistance Movement.
And I'm complaining. We had Wapa. You know what happened? We now have Kadaga, but it has been the NRM trying to demonize her. NRM.
Kenneth,
when did you grow other people? Kenneth,
both of you answer that question because I don't want to add anything to it.
By and large, I appreciate Chris' concern, but NRM has no deliberate attempt to specifically subdue any leaders coming from any region, from any tribe, or any group to the advantage of others. NRM gives equal opportunities to everybody. You talk about all these names. I mean, I wasn't a bush with President Museveni. I wasn't. The foreigners here, and many others. Muntu and others were in the bush with President Museveni. If that's exactly what you mean, we still see many of them also contest the leadership of President Museveni. So I think by and large, every Ugandan has got an opportunity to participate in the NRM.
Dr. Mona, is that an explanation coming from your heart? Is that a political explanation that you're giving us? Because no, I'll give you an example.
This is what is
let me take you back. 2001, 2000. Kizza Besigye says the NRM is derailing from what we fought for.
No, it's what they agreed upon in the bush.
What we agreed upon in the bush, and we are getting off the rails. We need to get it back onto the track.
Then another.
No, what happens? Kizza Besigye is not only demonized, he is subjected, he's on a course to being subjected to a court-martial. His paper that he presented that far back has never been discussed within the internal organs of the NRM, because the NRM leader, President Yoweri Museveni, didn't want a discussion on that. That was subverted. By the time Kizza Besigye offers himself again 5 years later, in 2005, you know what happened? He was walking out of prison, he was walking out of court, he was nominated when he was in prison, he was walking out of court to go and campaign. He had no chance to campaign. 2011, what do we see as the breaks now? Gilbert Bukenya disagrees with President Yoweri Museveni, wants to stand for presidency, he gets into whatever he's gotten into. Now the latest is Amama Mbabazi, and Chris has a way of describing his progression to where he is today and what causes that. And you say that is functionality of democracy? And you say that you have an equal opportunity to everyone outside of President Yoweri Museveni? Because the only contest you are preparing for, you're not preparing for a contest on the most important position in your party. That one is already ring-fenced for President Yoweri Museveni. You're organizing for the other processes within the party. And every individual below the line has been trying to ring-fence their own position. Chris, we have been following these things, sole candidature for members of parliament all over the place.
No, I think, Charles, you are missing Chris' point. But very quickly, I just want to say this in light of what Chris said about either insinuating that President Museveni doesn't enable other people from other areas to grow. But just a quick run-through. We had the Vice President who was coming from Eastern Uganda. That's His Excellency, the Right Honorable Specious Kazibwe. And recently we had Professor Gilbert Bukenya from the medical fraternity into politics. We have had the late Right Honorable Wapaburo coming from Eastern Uganda, and specifically from Bale. We now have Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament coming from Northern Uganda. So I think the question, the accusation of NRM not giving equal opportunities, or indeed absence of equity for developmental leaders to other regions, I think.
Dr. Mona, your own voice explaining this. You feel how hollow it is. No, because the argument is not in finding leaders. The argument is, for as long as those leaders can define how high they can go within the party, within the NRM government, it's okay. The moment they attempt to break the glass ceiling, then there is a problem, and you're not responding to that.
No, I want to repeat, NRM is not a monarchy, and every member of NRM has an opportunity to grow in the
Does it function like a monarchy?
Charles, before Honorable Ssabalu comes, permit me to say this. Honorable Mona.
It doesn't.
It's not you versus me. These are issues that you must speak. And when you are sitting, when you have a chance to sit with your chairman, hold on. When you happen to sit with your chairman, please deliver this message deliberately. That Chris Obore,
the chairman watches this show.
That boy from Teso, is saying, send a message. If you're listening, if you're hearing me, Museveni, let me tell you, let me address you. You are very lucky that puppet you used called Mbabazi was just bad-mannered. If Mbabazi was a good man, he wouldn't be leading NRM. The advantage Museveni has is that the puppet was also excitable, bad-mannered, torturing people. Now, he's going to have less sympathy because he was the methods the puppet had used of playing a puppetry to the maximum was working. He won Museveni. But the puppet forgot politics is a give and take. It's about relations. Now, that's what's going to deny Mbabazi his ambition. But Museveni's approach of using, let me talk about Bukenya.
Chris, to be fair to Mbabazi, we haven't had a lot of his people come to the show, and we hope we'll be having them to explain themselves.
I'll talk about Bukenya and Kazibwe.
He seems to have created some networks that are helping him.
I have told you, that's what I'm saying, the methods he was using would have dislodged Museveni, like Zuma dislodged Mbeki. In ANC, the advantage Museveni has, that this one, while he's trying to rise, he was bad-mannered. So the Museveni is just going to use the graveyard he created, give some spirit to come and just throw Mbabazi away. Just one throwing him to a pickup like Besigye did, which carries dead bodies. Mbabazi there like this. He will never talk in this street. No, but you must tell him, you must, when you look at Bukenya, you look at Kazibwe, you are pointing out, respect the East and respect the North and respect. The two were mimickers of Museveni. Bukenya even began claiming to be lame. You think that's a professor? Come on. It is still love for puppetry. The most clinical leaders, hold on. The most clinical leaders from, why is he in the capital of Canada?
That was the mentorship. That's
why.
After the mentorship. Seriously. Gentlemen.
Why doesn't he promote Olanya? For instance, you know Olanya is very clinical, very intelligent. Can you prop him up?
Let's ask Mike Ssabalu. What do you see happening? Hold it, Kenneth.
Kenneth, we are joking.
The environment
Mike Ssabalu.
climbing leadership in NRM.
Do you think it's healthy for the NRM and for the country that the NRM is treating potential leaders outside for the ultimate position of leadership of that party and leadership of the country, the way it's treated everybody who has attempted to come up against President Museveni?
No, I think we need to look at leadership. I think we are part of the problem when we overemphasize the office of the president to define leadership per se.
It does.
Yeah,
no, hear him out.
It is a very important office, but the importance of that office and the functionality of that office is a total sum of different levels of leadership. When someone has been a prime minister, someone has been a president, someone is a member of parliament, that is leadership, and that is mentoring, and many are coming up. That's why you see even within NRM, the rate of replacement at parliamentary level is high, and that is generating leadership, and we need to appreciate that as well. And in terms of the leaders.
Am I hearing this from you, Mike?
No. Can I be allowed to?
Am I and our viewers hearing this from you? That it is okay for you to grow, provided you don't cross the glass ceiling.
No. I'm still coming. You see, we have a history that we need to appreciate. And this has not happened only here. It has happened in many places, especially with a revolutionary background. When a country was in a certain state.
Not revolution. Stay with a Bush background.
No. That is, I choose to.
That was warlordship.
I choose to use the civil wording. I choose my words carefully to bring out the message I want to bring.
Like Amama Mbabazi. You choose your words carefully, like Amama Mbabazi.
To me, it is a revolution.
It is not. That was warlordship.
And we've seen this in Tanzania, when Mwalimu led that country and created the way forward for it, but he took it for some 20 years and he created the environment. So there is one thing at a given time. There could be a popular leader, but still there could be a preferred leader. The popular leader is not necessarily the preferred leader. They are totally different aspects. Now, for the time being, within the NRM, you cannot blame people to have Museveni as their preferred leader.
I appreciate
and subjecting him to electoral processes that entail democratic principles, making himself available for the electorate. I want to go.
We have seen experiences. We have seen experiences.
Wait, let me finish my bit, because we've brought out even this thing of like the Western. Well, at different stages of any country's development, there was a time when the North really gave us good leadership, and we appreciate it.
That's how Mutebile was educated by Obote?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. When you go to America, which we normally want to use as the epitome of these principles, you are even having it at one family level. You are having like 3 bushes in almost one generation. There is no problem with it.
Running what system?
But they are subject
running puppetry?
No. But I want to tell you, if they are the preferred people, those people are not looking at whether they are the same family. There was Bush Senior, there was Bush Junior, and right now a Bush is running very favorably. But the family thing is not. And we are talking about one family.
I'm surprised.
But you haven't disturbed.
I'm surprised.
Honorable Ssabalu, by the time Bukenya was chosen to be the vice president, was he the best NRM articulator than you, for instance?
No, when you bring,
better than you.
No, when you bring in me, you want to make me
opportunistic.
I don't want to subject myself to opportunistic. That becomes unfair.
The background to this child.
That is very unfair.
The background to that child now is
what we are saying, we don't care whether Museveni is the preferred leader. I have no quarrels on what NRM decides to do. But I'm saying, if you are the preferred leader, how do you do the business? I am critiquing the methods of operation by those who are preferred. And these methods seem to breed some animosity, some to disadvantage others deliberately. Because if you are going for competence, if you are all NRM family, for instance, why would you allow one to use puppetry to gain advantage to you, to destroy others? When, for instance, when Mbabazi, the whole country was saying Mbabazi Temangalo, he's called Mr. Temangalo. He's called Mr. Chogam.
He said in his interview
yes,
that he was known as Mr. Clean until 2008.
Of Temangalo.
And by that time, the government had been in power for 22 years.
Yes. Now, when everybody is saying Temangalo, Bukenya, we need the Bukenya's head. We need Mbabazi's head. We need, Museveni said, he is as clean as snow. Let's assume Mbabazi was building a war chest. Today you are saying Mbabazi has money. Where did it come from? It is you gave it to him. So should we accuse him for having money?
No, actually, my surprise, Chris, is that
should we accuse him for having money?
I have seen the dirty campaign coming out, I believe, of the camp that doesn't want Mbabazi as a candidate, bringing out Temangalo, bringing out all those sorts of things now. Everything is coming out now. And someone is asking, why didn't those things come out then? Why are they coming out now that he wants to challenge? Are you being fair? Are you building a fair system? What do you say?
Now, Charles, if I may say something, just
let me first, before you say that, what is the Secretariat's position on Mbabazi's candidature?
As I come to that, I think let me.
Can you first answer my question?
Yes,
so that you can answer.
Sure,
so that you can come to what you wanted to come to.
No, I'm coming to that. Just on Chris talk about the leadership of President Museveni towards those who want to take that kind of position. I hope we still recall very well the President's response to the declaration by the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi. If I remember very well, he actually indeed put it very clearly. He has no problem with Amama's candidature. But he only advised, of course, the chairman of NRM that I think it is too early to get involved in those wasting time in the electioneering. And he only went further to simply respond to some of the claims or allegations raised by the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi. Meaning, surely, in the President's response, he has not expressed any disagreement with the right of the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi to show interest to lead the party.
Why was he invited to South Africa?
We will put the questions that belong to President Museveni.
Correct.
To him personally, if we have an opportunity, because he has a lot to account for.
Well, let me get back to what did you say?
I asked the question, what is your plan on Mbabazi? On Mbabazi.
First of all, I just for emphasis, just like I told you earlier on, that us at the NRM, first of all, we have a constitution, and we have a very, very clear, guidelines on elections. And as I've told you earlier on, very soon we will be the Electoral Commission of NRM will announce a date.
You said that already, Kenneth. In the first quarter, you said use exactly the same word to say what I'm asking you.
Yes.
What is the position of the NRM party on the candidature of Amama Mbabazi? I saw a headline the other day in the New Vision saying NRM responds to Amama Mbabazi.
Right.
I'm giving you an opportunity to say.
This is what I have to say. That one, the National Resistance Movement political party, as I speak now, does not have any aspirants for the chairmanship of the National Resistance Movement. Why? Because we haven't declared that, and we haven't called for interest to declare anybody aspirant as defined. So as I speak now, there is no aspirant for chairmanship of the party. And therefore, any activity or self-declaration or self-introduction by any member of the National Resistance Movement getting involved in any activity claiming to be a candidate of NRM, according to our constitution, is null and void. In fact, let me also say that look at what our constitution says. The activities claimed by the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi to conduct consultation, conduct meetings as an aspirant of NRM. I must say that the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, they are like any other members who may be interested, has no local standard to conduct any activities and to claim being an aspirant an aspirant for the chairmanship of the NRM.
Dr. Mona, Dr. Mona, there's a difference in my view between aspirant and candidate. What you don't have a candidate,
Yes.
but aspiration can go to anybody. And the national constitution,
Yes.
provides very clear, no, not the national constitution, the Presidential Elections Act,
Exactly.
as it is today,
Also defines
clearly provides for an aspirant to do, among other things, consultation processes.
Okay, let me come to that.
And
Yes.
Amama Mbabazi has said, your party, or his party, the party you both of you belong to, the NRM, has issued a roadmap.
Right.
The National Electoral Commission has issued a roadmap. The roadmap means elections are not accidental events.
Right.
They are timetable, they're scheduled.
Right.
And he's working within the confines of the law. If you say he has no locus, what are you exactly talking about?
Okay. According to our Electoral Commission's guidelines on expression of interest, our Electoral Commission is enjoined to announce a date, time, and place where interests for those interested in taking such positions, particularly let me refer to the chairmanship of the party, are made. So in this case, the Electoral Commission will, in a near date, in the near future, announce a date, place, time where such interests can be expressed. And in this case, such interests are presented to SEC. SEC presents such interests to NEC, and it is only after NEC a proclamation or debate and coming out with the names of those interested, that those can, it is only those that cannot be presented to the national conference as aspirants for positions of chairmanship of the party. So as I speak now, there is no aspirant in NRM for the chairmanship of the party. That's why I say that any member, including the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, has got no local standard to claim.
So he's engaged in illegalities as far as the party is concerned.
Yes,
Let me just have the last word from you and Mike Ssabalu, and then we'll be getting out of here.
Yes.
You see, you are going to defeat Mbabazi. Mbabazi is not going to leave you the same. Mbabazi is going to pain you. It is going to be that pain. Even when you heal, you feel the scar for years to come. Because I am telling you where the Mbabaism came from. You are not trying to understand it. Yes, Mbabazi is a man who used all of that. He has people in your secretariat, by the way.
No problem.
Whatever you do in your secretariat, hold on, Mbabazi is aware.
Fine.
So a mere Facebook post from Mbabazi is going to cost you spend 100 million.
It is not
so by the time you come out of this Mbabazi syndrome,
I'm saying
you are going to be scratched.
What I'm not
I'm telling you,
not for fear of
you created your own problem
that anybody may post. But what I'm saying are the guidelines as prescribed in our constitution, NRM. And therefore,
and your constitution of the NRM has allowed posters of President Yoweri Museveni as a candidate announcing his candidature to be on the streets all over the country for the last
let me again say, President Museveni is the chairman of the National Resistance Movement. And we see, as I speak now, we take that as the image. In fact, he holds the mantle of the National Resistance Movement. That's why you see the materials they use for the party bear the chairman's face, bear the chairman's message. As I speak now, those materials can still be used because he's the chairman of the party. Chairman of the party of
a declaration, Dr. Mona, a declaration starting in February last year that says President Yoweri Museveni 2016 to 2021 means that in the party you're playing by different rules that apply to the party chairman and or as opposed to other party candidates.
Okay, let me again say this.
Other people.
Some of these materials, because of people's love for leaders like Honorable Ssabalu has put it, some of these materials they're talking about actually put up by others, not President Museveni. Can you show me here or tell our viewers?
And you as a party, think that is okay.
Any material claiming to
you as a party endorse that for President Yoweri Museveni, but against it over someone else.
No, I want to emphasize that as I speak now, President Museveni is still the image, face, and the mantle bearer.
I'll give a different question as we get out of here. I'll give a different question as we get out of here.
Give you an answer, Charles.
Using the materials.
Charles, your labor answer, Kintumusoke, from Purumia girl.
Has no problem.
NRM and Museveni in particular have been operating outside the law.
Kenneth.
So there is nothing we're only asking you, since even coming to power was an illegality, can you now be civilized and do things in a legal manner and respect the law?
What is your position as a party to the police plucking down posters of Amama Mbabazi, even when he didn't declare, the posters don't declare that he was a candidate or an aspirant?
Now, I think the police should be given also a platform like you have invited us, so that they can also inform. They can also inform.
This guy is just dodging.
I don't think.
Let me have the last one from
Omona.
Mike Ssabalu to get out of here.
Omona, the wine of power, the wine of power is so sweet.
Their action.
That when you start drinking, you want more. You want more. Museveni has taken it. He's still taking. Mbabazi took it. Mbabazi took it. He didn't know when he got drunk. And that's the biggest problem. You must know when the wine has reached your head.
Let's have the last one from
our viewers, especially our supporters and members out there, that us in the NRM, we will in the very near future mention a date when those aspirations, those interests.
I think you're saying that for the umpteenth time, and I think it's been well delivered. Let me come to Mike Ssabalu and we get out of here.
Emphasize, nobody actually is permitted to use our materials for the activities without going through the guidelines as prescribed by the National Resistance Movement. So whoever uses...
I should have asked the guys in production to play for you some images that we have been gathering over a period of time. The women yesterday
in
Tororo, that is your region. What they were doing, I'm wondering whether that constitutes campaigns.
They will ambassador Mbabazi.
Let me tell you.
Kenneth,
no,
Dr. Mona.
Okay.
Don't play politics by pretending not to have known what was happening.
Listen, let me repeat. As we speak now, President Museveni is the chairman of the NRM. So any activity that undermines the credibility of NRM is taken to be an attack on either chairman of the party or indeed the party itself. They have got the right to protect the image of the
your assertion?
Sabotage the chairman.
Is it your assertion, Kenneth? Is it your assertion to our viewers here that President Museveni, as chairman, plays by different roles in the party, in the NRM?
Which roles?
Rules that he plays by a different set of roles. Is that your assertion?
I don't think, and I don't say so.
Go tell him.
What did you just say? You said that as party chairman, any attack on him is an attack on the president.
Go and tell him.
It is true.
No, it's actually me telling you.
It is your assertion. No. It is your assertion.
Any attack on the chairman of the party, we take it as an attack on the party.
Does the declaration
No, that's not the truth.
Dr. Mona, does the declaration by Amama Mbabazi that he is aspiring for leadership both of the party and for the national presidency, an attack,
not in the party.
No, an attack on the party chairman?
In fact,
would you say that?
We take it as indiscipline because the Right Honorable Mbabazi very well knows the constitution NRM very, very well.
So to declare to challenge President Museveni is an attack on the party.
No, it is the process.
Is an indiscipline on the...
No, it is the process.
Is an act of indiscipline.
It is an act of indiscipline.
Mike Ssabalu, a declaration by Amama Mbabazi, according to Kenneth Omona, he's an official of the party secretariat. He says it is a sign of indiscipline. Would you characterize that as such?
In the process.
I think he's made his view, and I don't want to go into the discussion. He has made his view, but...
what he's saying seems to be the official position of the party, and I'm asking you as a party member.
Now, if it is the official position, there could be other individual interpretations. So I don't want to go into that, because the discipline requires that I get to know that in other fora than a discussion like we are having here. But what I simply want to say is that Mbabazi has expressed interest, Right Honorable Mbabazi. As an individual, he is expressing interest, and that is an aspiration. There are processes that are supposed to be followed within national jurisdiction and within the party jurisdiction. I think those need to be respected, those need to be appreciated, and even where the law is being applied in regard to that, both within the party and at the national level, due regard should be given that fairness is given. Like, for instance, if the people who are promoting his candidature are doing it illegally, then that should also not give leeway to people who are promoting the other candidate to do it.
Candidate Museveni.
Yeah. So I think there we need guidance of the Electoral Commission. It needs to come in and give guidance that should be respected and applied by all political actors, not only within NRM, but even in other parties. That
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Our time is out. Our time is out. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chris.
When you
we'll take this discussion offline.
In terms of when you keep your cat, when you feed your cat on milk, eggs, bread, don't allow it to go to the bushland, tricks of getting rats. Don't be surprised when the cat begins eating meat meant for you. That's what Museveni did. He fed his cat.
Chris, you've been complaining.
Let him face it.
You've been complaining on this show there is no more meat in Teso. Thank you very much.
Let him face the cat.
Thank you very much, Ssabalu. Thank you very much, Dr. Mona. Thank you very much, Chris.
Yes.
Thank you very much to our viewers for joining us.
You're so politicking.
We will.
The cat is in your case.
Chris, we are keeping this show open. Invitations open to John Patrick Amama Mbabazi and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, if they're interested to come and debate with our viewers on this show. And we'll keep that invitation open. Thank you very much and have a good night.
That's been nice being here.